I just want to know, as the decades moved on, has the behavior in the rock world, especially touring world, the quote-unquote backstage world, the tour bus world, has all of that just got more and more tame with each decade?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, that wasn't a conviction.
This is coming from somebody like him who's lived the rock and roll, the real rock and roll.
That he has. That he has, yes.
I never got to experience that. So when I came into it, it's been like everybody's a vegan and we all go to bed.
Is that where we're at now?
Yeah. But there's a lot of drinking. There's a lot of drinking and they'll smoke pot, but that's about it.
Nothing's changed then.
Well, no, but they're all vegans and it's
a lot of beard hair going around.
Yeah, a lot of beard hair and
craft
man buns.
beers on the bus.
A lot of men with ponytails,
A lot of beards.
Yeah.
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 Beards are a thing now, right?
Yeah.
Is that a hipster thing?
No, I realized how ugly my face was. So I grew a beard and everybody copied me. I stopped drinking. Look, everybody's going to bed early,
He stopped drinking, as he says, is he?
He's been using that line for 23 years since I've known him, 25 years.
I'm also retiring next week,
Every
too.
tour, yeah. I'm done. That was my last one. I'm done.
Absolutely.
He'll call me from tour. Hey, man, I'm flying in to do some guitars, but I'm just letting you know, don't worry about me going out anymore. I'll be around to do guitars all the time. I am done. It was tour after tour, the same thing.
Well, it's I'm home. And look what happened. I'm home for a couple of days, and it's like, hey, can you do this one-off? Hey, I've got this other one-off. Can you do this?
I know.
And then it's like I've got this, and then hey, can you shoot a scene for a movie coming up? So I'm really not off when I come home. It's exciting.
Well, as soon as you get home, though, I just know it's a matter of time before someone calls. Next thing you know, there's a tour scheduled.
That's what's happened.
Well,
it was
and
a standing
he claims
joke.
that Nikki's going to be his retirement gig, but
I'm
not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Oh hell,
I'm not buying it.
No.
This is it for me, folks. I'm gonna say it right here.
You're the biggest liar I've ever met in my entire life.
When he goes gray, because he will, I don't think he'll ever lose his hair, but I think he'll go gray. And when you're gonna be like this skinny little version of Fred Kowalo at 75 years old, with your hair all back in a long gray ponytail, out there noodling with bass.
Do you think that I'll be gray?
Yeah, there's
You're already going
God.
gray, man.
yeah, you're gonna be solid gray later, years from now, but you're still gonna be doing exactly what you're doing.
You hear this shit?
I
didn't say you're gonna lose
at
your
your hair.
I didn't say you're
These are my
hair?
friends. So the other day I bought this really cool stuff because that's what I do on Instagram. Like when you're on the bus and you're doing nothing because you're on the bus doing nothing, and but you just scroll Instagram for great products. So when you get home, you have all these great products. Well, I kind of refrained myself from doing that this year, and as soon as I got home, I started buying products.
Naturally,
I saw this hair product.
Prel. Been around for a while, Fred.
So I am never going to lose my hair because it supposedly rejuvenates your hair.
It's just Bosley.
And it's on Instagram, so it's got to be real. And it's some kind of Honduran hair tonic, and so
Honduran hair tonic.
He spent $750 on it.
But my hair's going to look great. No, I didn't spend
No, you didn't.
But
nothing put it. I wouldn't put it past them to do
No.
that.
So yeah, next time you see me, man, I won't be gray. You'll be like, wow, that is some.
Well, the hair might stay, but it may turn gray.
It's still going to turn gray.
Nope, I'm banking
It's
on it.
already turning gray that you can't reverse it.
See, all these years of guitar teching and stress have made me go turn gray. This is so
that's going to be you though, a skinny dude on a stage somewhere with all this hair in a ponytail, but
Swearing.
all gray. Yeah, you'll be the
limp.
same exact guy, but you'll be all hunched over.
swearing.
He's going to be hunched over with a
Swear.
limp and braces on every joint.
Which is funny that she says this because the last tour, like my knees are bad now, and what's great is
I was hearing this 20 years ago.
I tell these kids all the time, don't jump off the stage, you end up like me. And now I'm old, and I'm like, definitely don't. And they're like, fuck you,
I don't
old
think
man.
I don't think jumping off the stage is why they wouldn't want to be like you.
Fuck you, old man. Fucking, it's just like, dude, don't jump off the stage. I just told you not to jump. Fuck you. And then they get, it's like, whatever, man. All right, wait till you're old like me and your arms don't work and your legs don't work. And it's funny because I'm just like, it hurts. It hurts to get up. So I'm retiring. I promise.
Oh, you sure?
This is one of these days. This will be my last tour.
One of these days, when he is dead, then he will not go on tour anymore.
No, they'll prop me up and take
when
me.
he's like 78,
They're gonna-
80, he's
Weekend
gonna
at
die. He's
Bernie's
gonna die on tour. They're just gonna pop him in a base case and just leave him in a hotel somewhere.
Maybe like Jerry
I
Garcia.
didn't know it. They're going to Weekend at Bernie's him.
They're like Jerry Garcia's guitar. They're just gonna open it up. Hey man, you want to see something really sick? Check it out, man. Or like if you're like on a Dead and Company thing, they've got Jerry's guitar out there, and like if you're in the know, you get to see it. They're like, hey, check it out. Here's Jerry's guitar. They pop it open. That'll be me. Like, hey man, you want to see something really sick?
There's Fred.
We got Fred Kowalo here. You open it up, big bottle of Jack Daniels falls out, big puff of fucking powder. It's like, hey, look, here he is. They prop me up. It was just like,
Wait. I get asked a couple times since the last time you've been on, like, what's up with the book? Where do you stand with the book?
Man, the book was great. The book.
No, I haven't ever got a chance to read it, but apparently it was great.
The book was going great, and literally, I ran out of time. I finished one completely. I have another one already, like more than 3/4 done. I'm gonna say 80% done. But I started back at making movies again. And then I went back on TV and making, and just like no time. And then I jumped off of that and I went on tour. And figure I started in
2020.
Yeah, well, I started the book, and and it was great. And if I believed that they really wanted me to write a book, I would probably put a little more effort into it, And then when they started sending me, like, here are the color panels for your book of what you have written so far. You done? And I'm like, oh man, I really didn't think you were serious about this book thing, but yeah, I mean, I can do it. So I did it, and along the lines, it just, it's a time thing. And
is the offer still out there?
I talked to the dude a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, before I started that last tour, and he's like, man, you gotta get that done. I'm like, it's time. I figure I started it, and what was it?
2020.
So I started the book in 2020, but I went back to work in February 2021, and I haven't been done since. I haven't had like more than, a couple. There was a point last year. So figure I did 5 TV shows and movies, went on tour with TSO, went all the way through, didn't plan on following in reverse. Got home for a day, 2 days, went out with Buck Cherry.
Didn't you go as a confetti tech?
Well, that's what happened. I signed on for that confetti tech, and I did confetti for BTS, and that was, so I did that.
Is that K-pop?
Yeah, it was K-pop. And you know what? It was amazing, man. They sold out that stadium in.
Is that still a thing?
I guess, man. I don't know.
BTS?
K-pop, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I did that, and then I turned around. I came home I wasn't even home. I didn't even get home. I think I was home for 22 hours or something like that, and went back out with Journey, and then the Journey thing was like, all right, I'm officially done on what I do. I came and did a podcast, and then it's like, hey, you want to go out with Motley Crue? I'm like, yeah, twist my arm. So I've been out with those guys, ever since. And then, like I said, I come home and it's just, I'm running here, I'm running there, or whatever. And, it's a classic example. I got home the other day and it's like, hey, you want to go out with, want to do a one-off here? And so I said, yeah, I'll do a one-off. And then I've my photos are getting exhibited in Chicago, an exhibition on the opening night's 21st. So I got invited to the what is it?
Exhibition.
Yeah.
You should know that word, right?
So I'm going to the exhibition.
Too big for him.
And
it's like gymnasium.
So I'm doing that. And then like the next day I fly like to Atlantic City to do a one-off, and then New York and then I come back, and I'm doing a day on a movie, like the 20th.
But the book could be huge.
But that's just it. I'd never have time to sit down and actually write. And
you're on a tour bus, right?
But here's the other thing too, is I do my best writing.
Hours on tour bus.
No. We don't even have tour buses on these anymore. We fly everywhere. So we have technically no days off, because what used to be let's sit up all night on a tour bus and drink and Fred can write is now, all right, let's go back to the hotel. I'm exhausted. Oh my God, I got to be up in a couple hours to take my luggage to the van to take to the airport, because we fly everywhere. And yeah, it's a rough life. Private jets, charter planes, shit like that. I remember tour buses, but that was a long time ago.
You remember Astrovans?
I remember. You know what's great is I never had to do an Astrovan. That's why those guys hated me when I first broke into the scene. Like, you never toured in a van. I'm like, I never had to.
I don't think that was the only reason.
I never had to. So it's like one of those.
You ever toured in a van?
Yeah.
How's that?
I still do sometimes.
How's that work?
It's me and a bunch of guys. Looks very questionable usually. And then we get to the venues and everybody thinks I'm a zoo animal, because they're generally like thrash metal. So it's like I'm an anomaly when it comes to the scene.
Thrash metal. So how has the metal crowds changed over the decades?
They haven't. They're just older.
Really?
They're just older, and they're not as rowdy because they're old.
So the pits aren't what they were?
No.
Well,
no.
Get wheelchairs and walkers in there.
Yeah. But people are breaking hips and stuff, and they can't have that. So.
Hell, people are breaking hips on stage. Shit.
Yeah.
But so the pit thing became a thing like in the late 80s, early 90s. I'm not saying it was invented then, but it became like a commonplace thing. Because before, when you would go to a metal show, as a kid, I mean, we all had longer hair, smoke a couple doobies, get drunk before you go in, sneak a doobie while you're there, feel up your girlfriend, go home. That was it.
Still like that.
That was it. Now it's aggressive. Like when I saw Pantera for the first time on television, I'm like, if this is where metal's going, man, I said, I think I may be out. I mean, this is crazy. The aggression part.
Yeah.
Of it.
Well, I've noticed, like in Scotland and Ireland, they're like that, and obviously South America, they're like that. But I mean, a lot of especially thrash metal, it's just it. You don't have Slayer anymore, so.
Okay.
And then you go see like the old school metal bands, and their fans are all old.
True.
They're all original fans, so
true.
There's not a whole lot of younger people getting into thrash, especially because there's no newer younger bands really doing thrash.
John
anymore.
Are dying.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'd see what I see is they don't. These kids have a hard time going in a circle. But they
can't draw.
They have that wall
circle.
of death now, where they just like run full force into each other, and it's just like.
Those are a lot more exciting to watch.
Yeah,
the wall of death is a lot more exciting.
When you're up here,
when you're not in it.
When you're on the stage and you're going, well, look at these idiots, it's just like, but yeah, you remember, hey, wait, I would be right down there in there, if I was down there, and it's kind of, but they get some pits going, man, but it's usually like the European, Nordic countries.
All right,
Yeah,
what's the scariest crowds both of you ever did of all the tours? The scariest crowd, not crowds. One night that you remember in your head was the scariest crowd for both of you.
I'll go.
Go ahead.
So we did. I was PM and we were down in.
So for the audience, PM is
production manager.
Okay.
So not only was I a guitar tech, I was in charge of everything that happened during the show. And
what was
Nobody
the band?
knows why.
Megadeth.
And where were you?
We were in South America, and it was like
It wasn't the Bamboo Hudson, the Bamboo.
No, that was India. But there had to be like 100,000 people there, man.
Soccer stadium.
Yeah, it was an outdoor fest, and the barricade broke, and you just don't want to see those people get hurt. You know what I mean? Like 'cause they're getting crushed. The wave of 100,000 people were crushing the front row to the point where the bolts in the barricade broke, gave. I mean, something broke on it. That's how much pressure was on there. And I gave up guitar tech, and I jumped down there to help people get out of this mess, because you got 100,000 people falling forward at the same time when that thing snapped. You get down in there and you just, start grabbing. But then I started thinking, you need your fingers, and you're trying to put fingers into the break of the thing to put a bolt back in. Yeah, you're going to lose your fingers. But everything turned out okay, and nobody really got hurt. But that's scary, man, because when you stand out there and you look at 100,000 rabid fans, we just had 90,000 in Wembley. But it's 90,000 British people going, oh, that was a lovely show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, that John Five can sure play guitar. Def Leppard's on next,
The scariest people at Wembley were the chicks. They were the chicks.
But, you're sitting there and, they're all proper and polite. Down South America, they're like, ah! And you got they got the pit going, and you see birds flying overhead, and they're stuck in the vortex of dust.
Do you think that's a kind of a uniform thing? Do you think that's because they live in that intense heat? It just makes them fucking more aggressive.
Well, it's like a.
Do you think
they're used to it?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets there.
I think a little bit, but when you're in that size of a crowd, I mean, it's
you
gotta be losing a lot of brain cells.
You got to realize too,
overheating.
That tickets down there, these cats save up for like 3 months pay. For us, it's nothing. Oh, you want to pay $90, $100 for a concert ticket? These cats, I mean, that's 3 months' wages, so they're saving up, and so they get to go to the one show that means the most to them, So you could either pick,
and they lose their fucking
and then
minds.
they lose their minds, man, and they let it out, and it's aggressive, and it's fun, and they everything they have, is based on that 3 months' pay. But that's the truth, though. I mean, they give everything. And
they don't eat for 3 months. They're pretty pissed by the time
they're pretty pissed by the time they get there, And the alcohol.
You'd think they wouldn't have the energy at that point.
Yeah, well, the no food in the stomach and drinking some alcohol, for those beers down there. But no, I mean, they give everything, and as an artist, and even as a tech, it's gives you goosebumps feeling the energy that they give back to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you have those shows that, they propel you. I mean, those are the ones you remember,
Mm-hmm.
So.
What was your scariest?
I would say the crowd. I haven't had like a scary crowd. You know what I mean? It's been like more so places where I definitely wasn't welcome by people, or even respected, I guess. Definitely Scotland.
Really?
It's more of like a misogynistic thing, yeah.
Okay.
Where I go in there and obviously I'm the one in charge, and they don't respect that, and so they get pretty aggressive to you.
Like the stagehands?
Yes, the stage and the crowd.
They don't want to listen to a woman.
They don't want to listen to a woman, but also even the crowd. They said some sideways shit to me, that's for sure. But
wow.
It's because that's just their culture. They just don't have much respect. They don't want to listen to a woman. They don't have respect for women. They don't think a woman should be doing my job. So
what was the scariest moment for you?
I would say actually the scariest moment I've had, it wasn't even on my own tour. It was on the Motley Crue tour at Wembley Stadium. They did a club show the night before Wembley.
Right.
And I was waiting for an Uber to go back to the club, and there was like this guy who I thought was part of like the Def Leppard crew or something, because he was talking to somebody else who was part of their crew, so I just assumed. And he came up and he was just talking to me, and just he had that like look in his eyes where it made me like super uncomfortable. And like I was getting.
Is he part of a stagehand, or he just he's a
no,
fan?
he was just a fan.
Rando.
He was a rando. Yeah, he was a rando just standing outside the hotel.
Okay.
And but he was like trying to get in the Uber with me and stuff, and I was like, "Sorry, man. Like, the show's sold out. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I got my ticket. Sorry you didn't get yours." I mean, it was one of those, but it was just he was very persistent, and I mean, he was just creepy as hell. He just creeped me out so bad. And even my Uber driver said something about it, and but that's probably like the weirdest, like probably moment that I've had.
You're definitely in a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
In a genre of music that is male-dominated.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I've always been in male-dominated industries, so that's like respect for my peers has never been a problem. It's usually just random people,
right?
Who because it's always, well, who are you fucking to get your job? Yeah. That's always what it is.
I'm sure.
That's always what it is. And especially, I'm young, and I'm 25, so it's kind of, I'm in a unique position where.
No, I get it.
Yeah. So I do get that a lot, where it's a lack of respect from people, but I prove them wrong. So
yeah, you roll with it, figure it out.
I make the jokes, so I'm in control of it.
Yeah, sometimes humor is your best defense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I use humor about everything. I mean, you can. Fred knows. Fred, it pisses him off. It pisses him off a lot. He gets so mad. He gets so mad at me.
Really? Are you giving it? Are you giving it back to him?
Yes.
Oh, like tables turning a little bit on you.
I'm all business, man.
That's a lie.
Business. It's it's what you can do while you can do it. You know what I mean? And my times, I'm about ready to retire here. So it's all business.
Retire. Are you gonna die soon? Is that why you're gonna retire?
Well, that's right. That's that's my ultimate goal is to finish up this Motley tour and
He's probably gonna die on tour, and then I'm gonna get called. Willie or I are gonna get called in to come.
Well,
and then we're gonna have to use his box, his work box, which is a mess.
I can't. I saw that work box that was left here. It was like the stuff's still in there, by the way. 20 years later, baseball cards, packets of gum.
He doesn't clean it out.
Bottles of booze.
I don't think his work box has ever been cleaned.
Yeah, bottles of booze in there would be pretty good, man. I figure it aged 20 years.
Probably would be the whiskey in there.
There's probably whiskey in there.
Probably is.
Yeah, all kinds of tools. I never understood the baseball cards.
Are those from the Zach days?
Somewhere,
the baseball cards would make sense.
I just was like, I don't get the bag. I get all the other stuff. The baseball cards throws me a little bit.
In all honesty, I think one day I was they had like a baseball card show up at Parkway Center. You remember the one that's up top of Greentree?
Yeah.
And I remember stopping in there, and this guy was like, he had like all these cards, and he was like, it was like he wasn't selling anything. And I'm like, well, I'll give you, I was like wheeling and dealing.
3 guitar picks.
Yeah,
a bag of string, a bag of used strings.
and he gave me like a bunch of baseball. And so I threw them in the box. They ended up in the box. But there were some good ones in there. I mean, it was a good deal.
And they sat in there forever.
Yeah, it was
such a good deal. He could never get rid of them.
Well, see, that's what it is.
There was like banjo strings in there, some weird shit in there.
We had a banjo one time. Remember, we were doing the video, and I was playing the banjo. We can hear that banjo, and I'm like, I'm learning how to play the banjo.
Yeah, Washburn did send us a banjo.
Yeah, right.
They had the Oscar Schmidt division or something.
Yeah, right.
Like, he sent us a banjo. I'm like,
Michael
all these metal things ever a banjo.
Well, Michael Ray's like, hey, I can hear
banjos
that.
can be pretty metal.
Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. That's the only mainstream banjo I was aware of. And Roy Clark.
Roy Clark is shred. My God.
On anything.
Oh, yeah, dude. He was amazing. You watch those old videos. You just go on YouTube and find some Roy Clark videos if you want to see. It'll make you want to quit. It's just like, I don't want to play anymore. And he's like, he's smiling and doing it, singing.
Just make it look easy.
Yeah, I'm like,
no effort.
I think I'm hanging my shit up now. I'm done.
Done with your banjo days.
Done.
Yeah,
Johnny can play a banjo.
John Fox.
Yeah, oh my God.
He shreds on the banjo.
John, he can probably play the mandolin too.
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise
me.
He shreds on the banjo. At one point in the solo show, he'll always bring out a banjo, and I'm like, yeah, here he goes.
And he still makes it sound cool.
Yeah,
everything he does just is cool. It's not fair. Everything about him is just so cool.
Yeah. he adds a whole new dimension to Crew, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. It's
As a fan, I'm not there. I have no inside information. I'm just saying, as a fan looking inwards, it's cool as shit. It's a different. I'm not saying it's better or worse. I would imagine from a skill level, I would imagine it's more crisp and precise. But from just watching and listening, it just appears tighter to me.
He's having fun, man.
Yeah, you can tell.
And that's what music's supposed to be about. It's going up there and having fun, and and Mick was great. Mick was, to me, Mick's Motley Crue. You know what I mean?
That's how I feel about Ace.
So is exactly.
Same kind of thing.
But so is John. John came in and he added a dimension that was missing. I hate to say it like that, for a long time. And he brought fun back to it, and it was just. Granted, I've only been there for a year, but man, it's exciting to watch the cat play every day. Mm-hmm. And he always swings by, and he always looks over and he smiles at me, and I smile back because we were fans, man. And so it's now and I've known him for many, many years. He was always in different bands. I mean, we never toured together or worked together, but we were like fans, friends, shit like that. And to be on tour with somebody that you dig and you consider a friend and that's a fan of the band, to go out there and see him play every day and enjoy himself, and then he knows I'm enjoying myself, man, it's just, we're like two little kids bouncing around, it's living a dream. It breathed new life. Him coming in breathed some new life into me. It's good to have
for sure.
Yeah. And they went, and even those guys, they went to the studio. They recorded some songs. They played a club show that was,
Didn't you play a club show?
Yeah, I played a club show.
Let's go there now.
All right, let's do that.
So
we're sitting around.
Motley's Crue.
Yeah. So we all play at one point or another. Steve Morrison, he played, he was.
So who are these folks?
So Steve's Tommy's drum tech. But,
Tommy Lee's drum tech.
He played in bands and stuff like that, and he was on like I think he was the drum tech or backline guy on The Voice for years or whatever. So these cats have, they've always been around music. And David Vella, he was John's tech, and he's, he went to GIT and shit like that, and he's like a luthier and. These cats know their instrument, but they can also play. And what's funny is when you're out on tour, you rarely can find a combination of people that can actually play and work on guitars at the same time. And, it's either one or the other. I work on guitars or I play. So when we got there, we got these cats that can actually all play. And so we were fooling around and we were playing like Metallica tunes, and just because we have to figure out a song we're going to play at line check. So we do this song, and it was great, and we giggled about it. We were playing, but we didn't have a singer, so we got one of the Live Nation guys, Casey, could sing. Well, and he comes over and he goes, "Here, he takes the mic, and we were just fooling around, and it turns out, that we would learn silly songs or whatever. And me, I know just about anything. I can hear it, I can learn it, I can play it. So we were doing it. And so we learned the Metallica thing and we posted it online and it kind of took off. Well, of course, our bosses are online and they see it, and they're like, "Hey, you guys are, pretty good." So we're learning other silly songs. And one day Nikki comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, man, learn some songs. One day you might open up for us." I'm like, "Oh yeah, right." Yeah. And we decide that it's like, "I'm serious. Learn some songs." So we don't have a singer. We got Casey. Casey will do it. So we had the techs, the crew, and then we added Casey, and learn some songs. So we picked 5 songs, 5 silly songs that we were just going to do at line check when we do our line checks so they can run it through the PA. And so it's not the same every day. And so Brent could, gauge the PA and shit like that. And there's actually somebody filmed, I think it's Finland. We're playing sex type thing. And somebody filmed a fan footage, one of the guys was standing here. It's Motley Crue's crew playing, and it's just so it was but to see us play and live, on the big stage from like a fan's perspective. I'm like, wow, dude, check it out. So we started, and Nikki's like, you learning songs? I'm like, yeah, we're learning songs. We got some. So we started getting like rehearsal studios on our days off. It's like we dug into it. It was actually pretty cool. And we were finding like oh, this band's playing, like Hellfest tomorrow, but they have a recording studio in town, so we can rehearse there, So we go and do it, or and we were finding these other bands that were just like opening up, saying, hey, yeah, if you want to use you want to do it, go ahead. So we found a couple places, and of all things, we went to the night before London. So now it's official. Now we know that there's going to be a secret show, and we're opening up, which was the least kept secret in all of rock and roll. They call themselves the Dogs of War, but that's one of the new songs. That thing sold out in less than 60 seconds. And granted, it was 450, but to see Motley Crue in an intimate setting like that, and then I'm thinking, well, I've done everything I've ever said I was going to do in my world. And I remember one time I said I wanted to open for Motley Crue, and here it is again. So I'll probably die soon because I'm just hoping I make it to the gig, because I can't believe that I'm going to open for Motley Crue. And I said it years ago. Well, I'm going to work for Motley Crue, and I'm going to open for Motley Crue, and I'm going to make movies. I'm going to do it. And everybody's like, yeah, right, dream on, kid. So here I am now. And so it's just like it finally hits you. Man, you're gonna get to play a gig with Motley Crue and your heroes and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh man,
Did they peek in and watch you guys at all?
Oh, they watched the whole time.
They were there the entire time. They were rocking out though. They loved it. They loved it.
And here's the thing, man. Is I'm like this is going to happen, but we need one more day to polish up, and so we go to John Henry's. Now, John Henry's is the Rolling Stones practice there. We did Ozzy there. We rehearsed there with Ozzy.
So John Henry's is a recording studio.
It's a rehearsal space.
Okay.
A recording studio. And it's like famous, like the Stones were coming in next week to in the thing across the hall. AC/DC rehearses there, Def Leppard. So here's some bands, crew members, and it's like, but we've been there, all of us have been there like 1,000 times, It's just like, hey man, we need a rehearsal space. Yeah, no problem. Oh, really? Oh, cool. Yeah. So, and it hit me. I'm like, wow, man, I'm rehearsing for this gig at John Henry's that I've done with Ozzy and stuff like that.
So I mean, does it take time to set that up? Like, if you're going to go do that, how long is the rehearsal time for? A couple hours?
Yeah, we did like we had it all day. We had it from like 9 to 10, and I think we fucked off and decided we're good. It's not going to get any better than we got. So we went and we did it, and but we rented the gear.
Okay.
It was awesome, and so now we're all excited, but we have to go set up the gear. So, and we're setting up Motley Crue's gear into this, rainy basement, and we got into the place. I don't know. I'm thinking that the stage was probably the size of that corner right there. And it was tiny. And it was like, this is great. Now, here's what's great about the club. It's a punk club. Mm-hmm. You don't want to touch a thing on this. If you ever go down,
I saw the video clips from that place.
So if you were ever back in the day when you'd got on Metropole and you didn't want to sit on the couch in Metropole because you'd stick to it. No, if you brushed against the wall, it was like a slime came.
Was it CBGB's bad?
Oh yeah. It was probably worse. I mean, this thing was like the ceilings were like dripping with sweat. Like that.
Oh, it was nasty.
And you knew that if you opened your mouth and that went in your mouth, you got Legionnaire's disease. You're dying. You got some kind of like 60 years of punk rock fucking funk. It's just going to just eat your guts out for forever. And but it was like wow, man, this is great. And so we set up their gear, and they came in and they were all thrilled. To see the energy of those guys going to play a club show, and it was fun. I mean, they get it. It was fun. And they were going to have fun. But I think that the biggest kids, the ones that were most excited for us to play were those guys. It was Nikki, it was John, it was Tommy, you know, Vince as well. To see their crew play. You know what I mean? It's just like I couldn't wait to see, because I'd never seen them in a club. You know what I mean? This is going to be the greatest. I want to watch Motley Crue play. No, idiot, you're going to hand them guitars in a club or basses in a club because that's your job. But it's just like, holy fuck, I'm gonna watch my hero play in a club. I'm going to be right there. I'm like, you're right there every night. But this was something different.
Pretty badass.
And then it hit me. Wait a second, you got to open up for him. And we had done a good job of rehearsals, but you know me. I mean, I'm going to go up there and I take my hair out. I'm going to throw down. I play at the Mousetrap here, you know, every Thursday or whatever, and it's just like, it's about the same size stage. It's like, oh yeah, and they're like 6 people sitting there going, get off the stage, we're next. And but here it was. Now you knew what was coming. You knew that it was sold out. There's going to be 450 people plus.
There's people lined up from the night before.
Like,
lined up around the building,
around
trying to get into the front.
Yeah, and it was just like, no, you know, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. And we, you know, at the we're like making shit up at okay, so this is what we're going to do, you know, and of course Motley goes up and they do their sound check and they love it, they kill it, and then it's our turn to go up. Then we go up and, you know, we played and it was just, you know, did a little quick sound check, and it was just like, wow, the next time I touch this bass, it's going to be in front of people, you know, and it's just like, wow, this is great, you know, and because it had been a while since I played to 450 people.
Did it go like this?
It went that fast and then more. It went so fast I forgot to take my hair out of a ponytail.
Yeah, until Ace of Spades.
Yeah, and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot to take my hair out of a ponytail. I thought I was working.
Is there video of this show?
There is video.
You got to send that to me.
Well, they taped it, and that's what was great about our bosses. They made it like a little documentary for us.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, we did like interviews.
They haven't released it yet, have they?
No, they haven't.
No.
Oh, that's cool.
So they taped the show professionally.
That's cool
with cameras. So not just for Motley, but for us too. And they're fucking, like I said, I cannot say enough nice things about these cats. They're great guys. So eventually I'm going to have a video, and of course we'll bring it to you and show it to you.
Wow.
But they did like interviews, like behind the scenes interviews, like talking to me. And for me, going back to John Henry's that was the first place that I met Ozzy, like face to face, talked to him, and you know, and I just like looked around and I found I did my interview on the exact wall where I ran into him for the first time, but I was working, you know, I was working for Zach, but we were blowtorching medical skeletons on this wall, and I still have photos of it. And
wait, what?
So for all the Black Label props on stage, we made those. Black Label was such a family fun thing. We used to sell the merch out of his garage and shit like that, you know. So if you were on tour and you didn't get your merch, it's because we're on tour. We'll mail it as soon as we get back. You know, if you ordered it, you know, 6 weeks ago, that's why it takes 4 to 6 weeks, because we're on tour.
Pre-Amazon era.
Yeah, pre-Amazon. But so we used to make all the stage props. So we had all these skeletons. We bought these medical, like, you know, like is that Teflon, whatever, plastic. They're plastic, but whatever. They're true anatomically correct skeletons. Well, we take blowtorch. You don't want a white skeleton up there. You know, it's like, ooh, it's really scary. Yeah, it sucks. So we get these blowtorches, and we're blowtorching them. And I remember Oz comes walking around the corner, and he went, he's fucking looking at me, and I'm like, hey, it's Ozzy. And it's like, Zach around me, yeah, he's over there. And he goes walking. And he told Zach, he goes, that guy out front's more fucked up than I am. He's out there blowtorching a fucking skeleton. Zach goes, who, Freddie? He's like, yeah, Freddie. So, but that's how I met on. But when of course, I went over and we talked for a little bit. You know, it was fun meeting him with Zach finally. But that's what I told him in my little thing. I did it on the spot where I was blowtorching skeleton because that had history for me. You know me, I'm all fucked up about history kind of thing. And, you know, I'd met Oz there. And it was just, but it hit me when I was doing the interview. You know, here I am, just, you know, my dad saying, check out these chicks on MTV, not wearing anything, you know, playing Looks to Kill. And here I am doing an interview about opening up for them X amount of years later, and it kind of took me down, memory lane for that shit, and I'm just like, holy fuck, this is pretty nuts. And but here's what happened when I was on stage. We were like sitting there, and it went so ungodly fast, and it was just like, holy hell. And me, I don't count. You know what I mean? I just play. I'm a field player. And my ears were low, and I thought they were like blazingly loud. And then all of a sudden, I can't hear shit. And I'm like, and I'm the one starting the song, do. And it was just, I just played through. And anything that was wrong, I just played through. And I had a blast. And but what I found myself, and this is no shit. I'm not just jacking you around. I started. So we played a Jane's Addiction. We opened up with Mountain Song, and it was one of the songs that my first band. We never played it live, but we'd always just like warm up. It's just a basic D E G E thing, and so it took me to thinking about those guys, and I started thinking about learning how to play. And what was really weird, it was like the whole journey of my progression in 5 songs.
Right.
And it was nuts.
I bet, man. It's like it was probably like all those years compressed into a 5 minute.
Well, that's period. What it was. It was everything in 5 minutes. But I started thinking of all my friends and all the people I played with. Mm-hmm. And so the fun thing is we go up there and we play. And I just plow through it. And it's like the songs that
you are playing bass, Fred.
Yeah. And and at the end I'm like, oh, holy hell. We're doing Motorhead, and I've got my hair still up.
I'm over there trying to pull it out.
So I take my hair out, and then I start thinking of Lemmy and drinking with Lemmy and having fun. I'm like, dude, and I'm playing in this punk club, and I've got to do him proud. So
in the UK,
and we nailed it, and we ended with it, and we nailed it, and we had fun, and it was just like, it went so fast, and I had so many thoughts and so many emotions, and it really, I want to see the show because I don't remember any of it because it went that fast. But the funny thing is now I've got to get these guys on stage, and so and that show went super fast. But when you have 450 people in a punk club in an area about the size of this room, the main area or in front of the stage, and it's got 60 years of cigarette smoke and sweat and spit and bodily fluids and spilt beer. Yeah, it kind of got warm. We warmed them up, and then it started dripping. Remember who the germaphobe is? Oh, yeah.
It was so disgusting.
It was.
I've never seen anything like it.
So it was like nasty, toxic, black rain.
I would have lost my shit.
Yeah.
And I'm going.
I would have lost my shit.
And
wow.
So I watched from a little bit, and I kept an eye on him, make sure he was good. And then I go tune up, and I found myself staying out of the toxic rain drip thing, as much as I could. It was great, and the show went awesome, and they're such great bosses, I mean, and it was you're sitting there loading out, and you're getting texts. Great job tonight, from Nikki and Tommy and John. You guys made us proud. So it was awesome.
I bet.
So the funny thing is, we play Wembley the next day. There's nobody.
Wait,
Wembley.
can I just say something really quick?
Yeah,
I've never really
absolutely.
told you this.
Go ahead.
So when they were watching them play, and like obviously they're like Nikki's his hero.
Yep.
It looked like they were watching their heroes on stage.
Yeah,
That's
crazy.
how like into it they were, and they were just all of them, every single one of them were just rocking out like
nuts.
I've never seen before.
That's nuts.
And they just, and they were moving so they could get better. Views of what they were seeing. It was smiles the entire time. It was such smiles, and it really was like they were watching their heroes play. It was
That's crazy.
It was the coolest thing I've ever
That's
seen.
crazy. I believe it.
You can continue now to Wembley.
So the next day we go to Wembley.
Wembley Stadium.
Wembley Stadium. Not Wembley Arena, not Wembley down the street, not Wembley Bar and Grill. Wembley Stadium. 90,000, because it used to be 72.
Okay.
Now it's 90,000. So imagine Heinz Field with a third more add to it. It was amazing. I actually videotaped myself walking in. And because it's a bucket list place. I mean, I've been around. I played the O2, played the O2 Arena, played this, played that. But Albert Hall and Wembley are the only two places I want to play in London. And so I got to finally do. So, and again, as a tech, you're not out there. There's not a crowd or whatever. But you get to play these historical venues. Man, it was, I walked in there and my jaw dropped. And I walked down and just like, holy hell. You know, this is Wembley, finally Wembley. So we wanted to, we have to do line check or whatever. And I said, let's play Ace of Spades for line check. Just to say we played Wembley. And we did. Oh, my God, was that fun. The other guys, they stayed on stage, not me. I'm out the thrust. I'm like looking around. To get hit with that PA at volume sound in Wembley.
I can't imagine.
Oh, it nailed it.
You could hear it outside of the stadium. Loud and clear.
And we nailed it, man. We had a blast. And we videotaped that, but there was like no professional video around it. We got like some cell phone footage of it. And I had the laser guy, Brandon, film it. And man, that was it was a whirlwind tour. And it as soon as it started, it seems like it was, as fast as it was there, it was done that fast. But it was a great way to end that last week with just playing with those guys, because we had known from the beginning. We knew in rehearsals that learn some songs. He said, yeah, sure, yeah, right. And then here it is. It's the time has come to actually play, and it was just. Wow, man. And like I said, and then the actual time you're up there, it happens that fast. I went on my whole life journey.
I bet.
Playing. I thought about you. I thought about, this place, I thought about all my friends that I played with, thought about playing at the Mousetrap. I'm like thinking, wow, it's pretty good. I actually go up and play like Brian Setzer songs at the Mousetrap because, it kept me in practice.
Yep.
And, but it just, it was like, wait, what was it? Dewey Cox, the Dewey Cox story, where he's sitting there at the beginning and his whole life passes by him while he's just waiting, and he goes and he thinks about everything. That's exactly, oh my God, I just put two and two together now that's exactly what it was. That little short time I was on stage, I went the whole path of my life, playing with my heroes. And you know what happens to Dewey Cox after he gets off stage? He dies. So there we go. I knew it. I'm on borrowed time. Here it is. Who knows?
You guys need to write original songs now.
You know what? It would be great. It would be fun to
write 5 original songs. You can open up for
for anybody. But we played Mountain Song by Jane's Addiction. Sex type thing. Well, the joke was we put the song that got us noticed on Instagram was what was it? Sad but True by Metallica, and we hadn't everybody sing it because Casey he hadn't sung it yet for us, So we would just play and then we'd stop because we didn't have any vocalists, So we actually put that at the beginning of Sex type thing, and then we played Monkey Wrench by the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Eric, I don't count. I can't count. I'm not a musician. I never claimed to be a musician. I play
That
by
song is in 4/4. Just for reference, that song is in 4/4.
And you know what? I couldn't. It comes in on the 2. And you know what? No, to me, it comes on the 1 and it ends in a 3. And it's like, no, everybody comes in on a 2. I would blow that song every rehearsal, and I just could not get it. I could not get it. Somehow,
he never listened to Rush, so he never got that.
Yeah, I don't listen to Foo Fighters either. But Yeah, well, I think we did it really good, and we did that, and then we played Man in the Box, of course, for my good buddy Mike Inez to play one of his, play Man in the Box. It was play an Alice song was great, and then we ended with Motorhead because of course you have to at a punk club in London, and I'll tell you what though, that crowd dug every song we played. And the energy that they gave us was phenomenal. I mean, and they gave Motley even more. And just to be able to sit there and say, yeah, I did that. It was fun.
Get rained on by toxic goo.
Toxic goo, man. It was nasty.
Worth it.
I can't believe that place, like the health department lets those places operate. You know what I mean?
Dude, they're just club. And it was humid outside. It was hot.
Do they serve food in there?
No.
So they serve,
I hope not.
They serve booze in there, right?
Yeah. Just beer, yeah.
Well, I'll
beer,
say
booze,
that whole town is like very punk rock.
It was Camden.
It's a very punk rock town. It's badass. It was super, super cool town.
So the night before, we went back to the scene of the crime of the Hard Rock where Zach and I got tossed up, and it was great. So I went walking around the Hard Rock, and David and Sarah were with me, and I took them over to the vault and showed them things in the vault and stuff like that. But I actually, it was that whole Dewey Cops trip down memory lane that, and I text Zach. I'm like, I'm back here. Here's the spot. And he goes, he sends like a thing of absinthe back because that's what we were drinking that night. We got in trouble. And it was just like, it kind of made like everything. So I went down and first, before I even wrote him, there was his guitar downstairs. They moved it from upstairs to a nice display case downstairs. And I went down to take a leak, and I saw the guitar. So I went and took a picture in front of it, and I said, I'm back at the scene of the crime. And then I went out and found the spot in the bar that me and Zach were sitting at, and they pointed to the spot. That's where we were at. Because I have all the photos, of us being bad in London. And it just, it was fun to be able to go and do that and take my friends there.
20 years later, practically.
Yeah, take my friends there. And it was fun just being allowed back in the place, It's always good
to anybody wanting to go to that Hard Rock, be prepared to get waterboarded with Beatles information.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Wait, what?
Waterboarded with Beatles information. Because, if you go down into the vault, there's always, somebody down there to kind of give you a tour of it.
It's all Beatles all the time.
Yeah, he was very Beatles.
There was other stuff down there.
It's a bit much.
Jeff Beck's guitar was down there. Jimmy Page's guitar is down there. They have everything. They've got cool stuff down there. But the guy will only talk about the Beatles. And
guess who doesn't like the Beatles?
I hate the Beatles.
Yeah, not my favorite either. Sorry, I know it's sacrilegious to say that.
I don't give a shit. They're overrated. So we're sitting down there, and this dude just will. This dude will not stop. He will not stop, and he's like, "Oh, sit on the bench like Ringo Starr, pose like Ringo Starr," and I'm like, "No, I'm all right." Eventually, we got a picture with Fred David and I sitting and posing like Ringo Starr, but it took some convincing.
Well, the guy says he goes, look, here's over here, here's Ringo. Ringo came in, he sat on that bench.
It's Ringo,
and he was miserable, and I said, would you like your photo taken? And he said, Ringo went. He goes, there it is. Now everybody does it. He was miserable to be there. You know why? Because he got waterboarded with Beatles shit.
Yeah, he got waterboarded with his own band.
But somebody was walking down the street. Did you say he was walking past Abbey Road and Paul McCartney was there?
Oh yeah, Alan Sosa. Alan Sosa from Lamb of God was there.
Like a week before, a couple days.
No,
before.
it was the day that we were there. We were in London, and I didn't know Alan was in London, but he was walking down Abbey Road, and Paul McCartney's just hanging out, just walking down, and he took a picture of him, and I guess he just said hi and didn't want to bother him for a picture with him, but yep.
Can't make that shit up.
No, it's great. Well, that's in Camden. That's where I met Sid Barrett. Me and Eddie Mapp just walking down the street.
Wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you never told me the Sid Barrett story.
Yeah,
you never told me the Sid Barrett story.
We might have done it off camera. You might have, for these things. You might be in the bathroom. I was like, I think I told James about it. But oh yeah, man, me and Eddie Mapp met that was the whole.
Now wait.
That's the precursor to why we got fucked up on absinthe at the Hard Rock. That's
was
why
he by himself?
Yeah, he approached Eddie Mapp and myself. We were just walking, and here's the thing. We had just like gone to Stonehenge or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was really bummed out because my dad was a big Pink Floyd fan. He's got like the Pink Floyd prism on his tombstone and shit like that. And it was my birthday and we were like all bummed out. I was bummed out. I'm like, man, my dad would have totally really dig this if I just had a sign. And I shit you not. This guy comes up to Eddie, man. I mean, figure Eddie's this big. I'm just tall. This guy was a little bit taller than me. My height, and he's a bum. He's like some shabby bum. And he comes up and he says, "You tell by the way you're dressed, you're musicians." And I was a musician once. I'm like, "Oh, great, yeah, fantastic." We're walking, and the guy just wants to talk to us. It's like I said, it's Eddie Mapp, and this is like. You didn't have smartphones, you didn't have computers, like laptops, you're not carrying a laptop around. And so you always had to go back to the hotel, whatever. And the guy starts talking to us and he's like, he gets on and on and on. He goes, so have you ever heard of Sid Barrett? And I'm like, yeah, all that old Pink Floyd shit's great. He goes, well, there were solo albums. I'm like, yeah, Barrett, Madcap, Lamps. I got them both on vinyl. And he goes, it's a good boy. And he wanders off. I'm like, dude, what a weirdo. And I'm like thinking, but the whole time we were walking, I'm like, there's something about this guy. I know him from somewhere. I know this guy from somewhere. And it's his eyes. He had like peach fuzz hair, And I'm like, it's his eyes. I know him from somewhere. That was the thing about Barrett. He had wild, crazy eyes. And I'm like, my God, that was Sid Barrett. And then he's like, no. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's him. He goes, he's still alive? I'm like, yeah, he's still alive. I don't hear he was dead. So when we go, you have to go back to the hotel. You have to go to the lobby, big giant Dell or whatever computer in the lobby, and you have to log in. You have to dial up, and here it is. And the picture that pops up is the guy we were just talking to, and it's just like, holy fucking shit, it's Sid Barrett. And it's like,
did you go back try to find him?
Oh yeah, we did. And we're like, holy hell. And so that was my sign that my dad was happy. So it's like, holy shit. Well, it's my birthday. Let's do something. I met Sid Barrett and Craigo. How it started while we were stuck there was we were in Belgium and we were trying to catch the ferry and shit like that. And I told Craig, I said, hey man, watch out. There's bones in that bacon. He goes, oh, yeah, there's bones in the bacon. Well, it's European country style bacon. Dude picks up a piece of bacon, goes, and his front two teeth look like chiclets. Oh, yeah, those are the bones I'm talking about. And the dude's got, so we had to stop and get, dental work. So we found him. That's what you want in England. English dentists. So there you go.
From the looks of things, it's not a high demand career.
Yeah, So we get so that's why we had some time to kill, man. We had some time off, and so we ran. So we decided that look, we can't find acid. We're not going to get shrooms and thing, because I was against acid and shrooms, but you know what I like to do? Drink a lot. So we found some. We went to a TGI Fridays, and we're like, do you have absinthe? Yeah, we have absinthe. I mean, they don't have real absinthe at TGI Fridays, even in England. It's not real. But they'll tell you it's real, and you can sit there and you can drink it all day. You'll get fucked up. You'll get sick to your stomach, but it's not the real shit. So we're sitting there, and about, $100 in the real shots of, we don't know how to do it. You're supposed to do like sugar and stuff. Fuck it. That's a waste of time. I'll eat the sugar cube. I'll drink the shot of absinthe. Must do the same thing. No, just gives you a bigger hangover. And so the fun thing is we're sitting there doing this. Eddie Mapp comes back and goes, you guys are a bunch of idiots. And that's exactly how Eddie talks, even though, no, I don't. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I roomed with you. Yes, you do. And you guys are a bunch of idiots. I got you some real wormwood absinthe. Oh my God. If he hears us, he's going to shoot me. And so he goes out and he found us some real absinthe. like a bottle of it.
Okay.
And it was a big bottle. Man, there's a big difference between TGI Fridays absinthe and real Wormwood absinthe. Yeah, that'll kick you in the ass.
Can I ask why you immediately thought TGI Fridays would have real absinthe? What was the allure?
Hungry. We were hungry,
Okay.
and we were going
There
for
probably
lunch.
isn't an answer for that question.
Yes. And we were hungry and went to lunch, but that was the joke. I mean, do you have absinthe? Yes, we do. It could have been like toothpaste, green toothpaste. They're watering down and putting it. It tasted like green toothpaste. It's like, oh, look, Colgate.
They gave you Dr. McGillicuddy's instead.
I don't know what it was, but it was
tasted like Colgate. That's what it was.
It was nasty. But yeah, so we ended up drinking like the rest of the absinthe, going to the Hard Rock, tearing up the Hard Rock, getting in all kinds of trouble. I got photos of Zach playing Hendrix's guitar, drinking. He's on absinthe. We got hammered on absinthe. We raised all kinds of hell, and he's kissing Hendrix's guitar. He's like sitting on Hendrix's guitar, and it was so. I'll tell the whole story. So we go there, and who's the responsible one? Me. Oh my God. Give the drunk, because I'm the one that can still walk and function. I'm the walking function drunk. And we want to go to the Hard Rock. So we have Brian Crowley, who's like Aleister Crowley's, like the real Aleister Crowley, like great grandson, And, so Brian Crowley. So Brian's driving us around. And he takes us, he goes, look, you guys okay to go to the Hard Rock? Yeah, me, I don't forget a thing. I remember everything. And so we all go to the Hard Rock. Craigo's got his new teeth. Eddie's there. We're all sitting there. Boland's there. And the only one that can really, keep Zach in line is like me and him. We're going to go drinking. You guys. So they have to separate us because it's jam-packed. So we can't be together. It's like there's no tables, even for a rock star. But you two, there's 2 seats at the bar. So first of all, wait, I take it back. To keep the bull out of the china shop in the Hard Rock, away from the customers, they send us over to the vault, where this guy Jimmy takes us on this great tour of the vault. We play Hendrix's shit. I've got me and like John Lennon's like the jacket that he wore in like 1973 at Central Park. I take it off the mannequin. I've got the damn thing on. I've got photos of all this shit because I'm tripping on absinthe and I've got a camera. So I'm going to take as many pictures. I've got as many stupid pictures. I'm in Elvis's karate jacket. I'm playing Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar. Dude, they used to let us play everything, man. Jeff Beck's shit, fucking, I got all this stuff and I'm having a blast. Okay, we got 2 spots at the bar for you guys. So we go over and it's me and him and we're sitting at the bar. And everything's going great. And, the other guys are there. We're all separated, though. It's jam-packed. Nobody's really bothering us because we look pretty damn scary and we're, we're going to trash the place anytime. And he's walking through, spilling his drink on me. And, so they get us to the bar. And he's sitting there and I just remember we have I have photos. Instead of stopping this nonsense, I took photos of the whole sequence.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's always what you do. Don't stop it. Just take pictures.
It's rock and roll history. Uh-huh. And so we're sitting there, and he starts talking. And
who is this?
It's Zach.
Zach, okay.
Zach starts talking. I think he's talking to me. I'm like, what the fuck? Why? He's because it's fucking you. Because of me. What the fuck did I do? He's like, not you. Fucking because of you. He's talking to his guitar. His guitar is talking to him.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because he's tripping on absinthe. He doesn't drink. He doesn't drink this shit. He doesn't drink. He drank beer. And we're the fools that gave him some absinthe. So we got a good chuckle out of it. And, his trip starts. This is after he's like, I got pictures of him like kissing Hendrix's guitar, hoping like Hendrix's magic wears off on him. And so now we're over there and he's talking to his guitar. And he jumps up on the bar and he reaches into he throws like a beer bottle at her, a glass at her. And instead of like,
I never heard this story.
Instead of calming him down, I'm like, yeah, hide to the left, rocker. You took out John Lennon's 335. And he goes, oh! He jumps up and he starts grabbing. And I've got all the photos. It's fucking great. And he's like throwing shit around. And he's throwing them at his guitar. And they tackle him off the bar, this, that, and the other thing. And we're laughing. I'm like, oh! Still look like I look like
Tourist.
Yeah. I was looking for the politically correct term. I look like a tourist, taking photos. I'm like,
I know where you were going.
Yeah, I was too. And I was trying to think of the right word. And so I look like a tourist taking photos, and I'm just rattling them off. And so I got the whole series. And so they take us out, and in the midst of it all, Craigo walks in the wrong door. And then all they know is all these Black Label guys are out there causing problems. Craig walks in the wrong, and the dude punches him square in his brand new fucking teeth and knocks his two brand new teeth out. All I know is somehow I'm outside. There's a motorcycle there. I'm taking pictures of the motorcycle. Brian Crowley comes pulling up in his Astro van and goes, "Get in, you idiots!" And we got in this van and we drive. The woo-doo police were coming, and it was just like, we can get. But it was great. Like they stopped at the light. Here we go. We can just drive on. Here we are. We're getting out of here. You'll never take us alive, coppers. We got out of here. So I'm barred for life. Before they throw us out, they said we were barred for life forever. All right, barred for life. Barred for life, I guess, means barred for life. So here it is. Years later, I go over there with my family, and I walk in having lunch. I was married at the time. I had my wife and my daughter, and sitting there. And of course,
did you have a Black Label vest on?
No,
okay.
I was normal. I didn't have any. I was a tourist. You know what I mean? I'm just a normal guy having lunch at the Hard Rock.
Nothing normal about you, Fred.
So we're sitting there, and I'm like, well, blah blah blah. It's just this place, and I thought you're barred for life. I am, but I just want to see if I can get back in because like all the other places I've been barred for life, I try to get back in, and sitting there, and the guy comes over like halfway through the meal. He goes, "Excuse me, sir. When one says one's barred for life from an establishment, we definitely do mean one is barred for life, and that means the entire life of the human being there. And you're barred for life. What are you doing in your establishment?" I'm like, "Oh,
How would they remember that all those years
all
later?
that face recognition shit over there, man. So it was only 3 years, and I kind of caused a big scene, and I still look the same.
Oh, 3 years, yeah.
So." So I'm sitting there, and of course, the ex-wife's like, "You fucking asshole! You think you're so funny?" I mean, she hated me. She hated my story.
Wait, put the better voice on, Fred.
"You fucking asshole! I hate your story. You think you're so fucking funny. You and your Black Label buddies."
Again, and so the guy looks over and he goes, "Is Mr. Wild here?" And I'm like, "No, it's just." He's very good, sir.
Have a nice day.
He goes, "Finish your meal." So
He said, "Yeah, fucking ruined my meal. I think you guys see this asshole all day."
and so he comes back a little bit later and he goes, "Would you like to do a private tour of the vault?" I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm taking my
They changed their tune quick.
But I came back over, and so I take them down there because I want to show Jenna, this is why Daddy's always gone. This is what Daddy does, blah blah blah. So we go in there, and there's still a group down there. It's not like a private tour. So we go down the steps, and we're sitting there, and it's the guy I know, Jimmy, that used to give the tours of the vault. He knew everything about the horror, and so I'm like, cool. And he sees me on the steps, and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen," he goes, "very rarely do." He goes, "These are the instruments and the costumes and the things that have made rock and roll history."
Okay.
He goes, "They all have stories to tell." He goes, "Very rarely are we blessed with the people that have been part of hard rock history, the people that have given us the stories." He goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce that today is one of those rare days where someone who has given us one of the greatest stories of Hard Rock Cafe history is actually here." And and of course, I got the camera. I'm ready to go. I'm like, "Oh my God, who's it going to be? Is it going to be, Ringo Starr? Is it going to be, it's going to be, Jimmy Page? Who's here?" I'm ready to go. He goes, "That gentleman right there has given us one of the greatest nights in hard rock." And I turn around and I'm like going like this. waiting for somebody to come down the steps. I'm the last guy on the steps. I'm like, and my daughter, who's like 5 at the time, she goes, Dad, he's talking about you, I think. I'm like, and they're all looking at me. He goes, that guy right there. He's pointing. I'm like, he goes, he gave us one of the most memorable stories. And I'm like, and she's my wife. You fucking idiot. I fucking hate you. You know?
Now you got to use the voice.
Yeah, you fucking idiot. I hate you. Hey, why?
And so they clean out the place, and I've got some of the greatest photos ever of just my daughter with Hendrix's guitar. She's playing Hendrix's guitar, sitting, on Hendrix's couch, and what she's playing with, the guitar's beside her, but I actually do have pictures of with it. And but the photo I love the best is she's playing with John Lennon's tea set. It's the only thing he brought back from India when they went, and she's sitting there playing. But the best is like Jimmy explaining to my wife, telling her the story that she's heard 1,000 times, and she's going, it's fucking fun. I fucking hate this fucking guy, man. Fucking, she hated me. It's just like, and I got to listen to these. Everybody tells her things. Your husband, Freddie's done this and Freddie's done that.
It's all true.
And unfortunately, yeah, they throw. I wish I had a list of all the places I've been thrown out of. Barney's Beanery, the L.A. would have a great, the record plant.
I know that one. Who threw you out of that?
Oh, the record plant. They told me they wouldn't throw me out for life. We took like one of Whitney Houston's beers one night out of the refrigerator. From the next thing over, it turned into we're going to return it. We just ran out of beer, and so they barred us for life. We were only allowed in there to record. We couldn't just go in and hang out, even though the studio was ours. Like, that's what we were doing. We were just going down there looking for a place to crash, have beers. We get tanked in the studio. We weren't recording. We were just sitting there drinking.
My God, that's hysterical.
And, oh, yeah, Barney's Beanery.
What happened there?
Oh, I can't get into that one. That was...
Come on, Fred.
I'm sure there's a handful like that.
There's a couple of them that I can't tell in public. And but yeah,
can't tell the Boy George story either, can you?
No, I can't tell meeting Boy George. But they
it's a great story, ladies and gentlemen. It's
the greatest story in rock and roll.
It doesn't play well anymore.
Yeah, right. And
in our politically correct world, it just doesn't come
canceled.
off right.
Eric McKenna Project canceled.
Oh, I would do it if you had the balls to do it. I definitely would let it roll.
That's one that stays.
It didn't age well.
Yeah, but I mean, there's like so many of them, but I sit and giggle at in that 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes, that 25 minutes I spent on stage on at the Underground in London. That whole path went through, and it's amazing. It was like the life flashing before your eyes, like my playing life, my touring life, my life. It just and I thought of everybody. I was happy to have the people that I had there helping me out. She teched for me. That David was on the other side, so she couldn't tech for David. But,
unfortunately for David, he was the one who needed a tech.
Yeah, right.
He broke a string.
On the first
note of the first song.
And that's all you can see me doing is thinking, we practiced this whole time, and everything was going to go great. And he's never broken a string.
Nope.
And
he figured it out the way he figured it out. Gig.
Robert had to go over there.
Yeah, but Robert went over.
But David did like 3 songs?
He played 3 songs on 5 strings.
Yeah, he killed it.
And he nailed it, man. And Robert went over and goes, "Hey, do you want me to fix it?" He goes, "No, we don't have time." And now Robert's stuck over there, he says, because there was no way to get out. And so unfortunately, our boss had to watch us play, but
he was watching anyway. He was standing right behind me, making sure nobody was getting in my way, with a smile on his face. He loved it.
So we had a great time, and it just. But I thought of everything. I thought of everybody. I thought of at one point I was selling guitars, and that's just because I don't think about playing the song. You could even see it. You could watch me play videos at the Mousetrap, and I'm like watching football. My mind's not even playing. I just go into play mode. I'm playing my fingers are playing Twister on the neck, playing Stray Cats tunes on a fretless bass, and I'm like going, "Oh, look at that! The Steelers are winning." It's just like it's Thursday night football, and I do every little thing except for think about playing. And that's where I was, man.
That's what the best musicians do, though.
I thought about
they're somewhere else, yeah.
And just I thought of my entire career in 25 minutes.
How long was the set?
25 minutes.
25?
Yeah, 25 minutes, and like I said,
Fastest 25 minutes of your life.
Oh, dude, it was great. It was great. And then to end it with Ace of Spades, and I was thinking of all those silly, to actually say that I knew the guy, that I even before I was a tech, and even before I met the guy in Cleveland. And we went to I think it was a TGI Fridays or a Dave and Buster's or some shit, whatever was up in the flats. And we're like, oh, dude, because we have to see Black Sabbath and Motorhead. And I ran into Mickey that day. Mickey D was playing for Motorhead. He goes, I remember you. He goes, you interviewed me years ago. Because I interviewed him. He was my first interview I ever did. I interviewed him at the basement kitchen of the Syria Mosque. And Mickey knew, he goes, we were in some kitchen somewhere. I'm like, yeah. So we sat around, we talked, we got photos together. And he goes, I said, hey, where's Lemmy at? And he goes, probably over there drinking. We're like, laughing. Oh, yeah, right, sure. He's over there in the public drinking. Man, we went over there. There's Lemmy. Actually, we were there first, and Lemmy came up, and he came in beside us. And it was just like, holy shit, look, there's Lemmy. And
well, isn't that how he was at the Rainbow?
Yeah, that's how he was.
He would just sit there.
Well, that play the slot machine.
Yeah,
that was
all day, every day,
Miss
and
Pac-Man.
just drink.
Well, he lived a block away or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And have you guys ever seen his apartment tours?
Yeah, I did. There was a documentary done, I think, on
was there?
Netflix. Yeah, you gotta look that up.
Did it, yeah.
You gotta look that up.
Maybe that's what I'm
a couple
thinking
years
of.
before he died or whatever.
Well, I remember that. That was like the first thing I did when I went to L.A. When I went to the Rainbow, and that's so we went out to that vampire thing up there.
The
suite.
lounge.
And that was my joke. I said to the kid, it took me Mikey. I said, hey man, where's Lemmy? He goes, oh, right there. And he's like pointing. And like,
yeah, it's like
what?
everybody comes in there looking for him, and he's like, well, he's always here. I don't think he goes home.
Sitting there drinking his Jack and Coke at the end of the
He's
bar.
not on a tour. He's doing that.
And then but I thought about drinking moonshine with him. Seeing him on stage and I introduced Tom Simcoe to him. And it's and just he was such a great guy, man.
We used to walk around Boogie Street. We used to go, the Ace of Spades. He would scream it down the hallway. It was literally in this office building where there was a radio station down there. We'd go in the hallway, hey, the Ace of Spades.
Dude, it was just,
all the time. I don't know why.
So to be able to play that song, and just think about, just having. I remember, when we were drinking that moonshine, and the one guy comes up and he says, what are you drinking? He goes, we're drinking moonshine. That's not moonshine. That's moonshine. And so I used to take strings, and I used to use Everclear to clean Zach's strings with, because it just fucking took that rust. I mean, as soon as he touched them, it corroded them. Yeah. But I'd throw some Everclear on there. So I'd have a bottle of Everclear, and that was a thing. I'd have a cup of Everclear, and I just dip the rag in there, and I just do it. I do the whole thing, and then I'd do a shot for the strings and a shot for me, a shot of the Everclear. But today, this particular day, I had a mason jar. A fan had given me a jar of real moonshine. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, cool, thanks, man. I'll put this to good use. Well, I got the mason jar. I tried to do the strings with the moonshine. I'm like, wait a second, this is real moonshine. Fuck that. I want to just drink the moonshine. Everclear's, $5 a bottle, or whatever the hell it was back then, $8 a bottle. And so I took a thing and I dumped it in a plastic cup a clear plastic cup of moon or thing, and I dipped the rag in there and I cleaned the string. So Lem sees me drinking the moonshine. He comes up and he goes, "What do you got there?" I got some moonshine. He says, real moonshine. I'm like, yeah, man, in a mason jar and all, corn mash. He goes, so me and Lemmy are drinking moonshine out of the jar. And this one guy comes walking up and he goes, what you guys doing? And Lemmy's like, it was just so cool because he's on my box. He's like leaning on my box, like, and so cool. Lemmy, and he goes, drinking moonshine. That's not real moonshine. I said, yeah, it is. He goes like, yes. And he goes to the guy to give him the moonshine. And the guy takes a huge swig of this fucking
white lightning.
Yeah, white lightning. And he goes, he starts choking. Lemmy's just sitting there like this, like looking at him like, you fucking idiot. And the dude looks around and he sees the plastic cup of what he imagines is water. and he grabs it and he downs it, and it's 151, or it's not 150, it's Everclear, so it's 190 proof. It's probably just as much as the. And he goes, and he just started, and I just remember Lemmy leaning on my box, and the dude's projectile vomiting, like it's like he's like choking. Lemmy goes, "Seen a lot of fucked up things in my life." He goes, "That's fucked up," and he goes, "It's moonshine." Yeah, like it was moonshine. But the dude's like just like puking. It's like it was projectile. And he goes, "Seen a lot of fucked up things in my life. That's fucked up."
If you looked up the definition of heavy metal, the picture should be Lemmy.
It is him. He's the personification of heavy metal, and that's why these festivals, like Hellfest and Wacken and all these
statues of him.
Say statues of him there because that's what it is. I mean, he is the heavy metal god. Yeah, and he was just so fucking cool.
Would you agree that the voice of heavy metal was Ronnie James Dio?
Dio had a great voice.
You disagree with that? Age difference may play into this.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it just depends on I don't know.
What does the definition of heavy metal mean in 2023?
Yeah.
Well, it's almost dead now. You got to think. I mean, these metal bands now are pop punk. That's the big thing is pop punk and
what is punk?
Progressive metal. Well, it's not punk anymore. That's for sure.
What is it? I mean, antisocial.
There's no message. There's no message to it anymore. It's just a genre. It's a style of playing. I mean,
you know what? That's exactly.
It almost falls into like thrash.
It's a style now because it's not really, the message of being.
The
anarchy.
Message can't be there anymore.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. These kids on their phones and their iPads and their video games. What are you rebelling against?
Yeah.
What are you standing up against?
There's nothing for them to rebel against.
Now it's cool to put your hair in a little spiky little thing because they sell products for it.
Well, because you got people like Machine Gun Kelly trying to bring back punk or rock or whatever he tries to do.
But back in the day, these cats would super glue their hair, or you know what I mean? That was their thing. Now it's like, I'll just go to I'll go down to Giant Eagle, get some product, and it's not a lifestyle. I'm going to put a safety pin in my jacket.
It's like it's a phase now. It truly is a phase now that you can look at somebody and say, oh well, you like thrash metal, you like old metal. Well, that's just a phase. It's truly a phase. They don't understand the message behind it. There is no message behind modern music anymore.
No.
And if there is a message, it is absolutely fucked up and backwards, for sure, in my opinion. I try not to pay attention to it, but it's there's no substance behind the music anymore. They're trying to emulate, and they get a lot of copying these old bands that were so great at what they did, but there was a reason why they were so great at what they did
in their inception.
Yeah.
But it became. I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but as the bands got older, their crowds got older, so normal life just seeped in from all angles.
Yeah,
and
but then
they're not dangerous anymore.
You get anomalies.
It's like Disney.
Yeah.
Kiss is Disney.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And has been for a decade or 2 decades now. It's just Disney.
Yeah. But I will say you get anomalies like Motley Crue. They were smart as fuck for the dirt. Because when every show that I've gone to, everything I see on social media, it's people my age, it's people younger that are big Crue fans, and they want to, they're bringing it back, and I think that's like kind of the goal, but it's like, okay, you're never, I don't know, people are too lazy to learn how to play the guitar. People don't want to learn how to play the drums. People don't want to learn how to play keys. They don't want to learn how to play bass.
Yes.
Nobody wants to learn how to play bass, but,
Well, all the guitarists that got passed over ended up on bass, right?
That's what happened to me.
I mean, I'm not a good guitar player.
I came from a town of guitar players that were like smoking great. There was nobody could play bass, so I just learned how to play on 6-string on 4 strings, and then there you go. Here I am now.
I tried to play bass for a couple months. I got a good bass. Remember, I tried to move to that, but practicing was so boring. I just found the instrument, like in a group setting, bass is phenomenal, but like to do it by myself,
just doing it on your own.
It was so kind of. I don't know. There was just so much dynamic sound from a guitar. as
Yeah.
opposed to a bass doesn't give you that.
Well, and you have to want to get that sound. That's the thing. You have to have. I mean, I played bass. I don't even think I've ever told Freddie this, but I started playing bass before I started playing guitar in a band, and it. We were the very first song I learned how to play was NIB, Black Sabbath, and it was just one of those things where I found it to be really boring. But thinking back on it, I could have done so much more with it.
Sure.
If I had just kind of focused more on the group setting and making it dynamic and making it sound like me, and not trying to sound like Geezer Butler and sound, I didn't do what I could have done with it. But I come from. I was a cello player, so bass was the easier transition. And then I was like, fuck this sucks. So I started playing cello in the metal band, and then eventually
cello in the metal band.
Yes, yeah. I am classically trained, and I'm also metal trained on cello. And my
am I aware of a band that has a
Apocalyptica?
cello?
Look at Apocalyptica. It's all cellos. And they're all heavy metal cellos. They play like Slayer and shit, man.
What about Mongolian metal? Remember that you turned me on the Mongolian metal decade?
The Who.
No, it was there. Yeah, was it called
The Who? Yeah, that's what they were. HU.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
they're
a thing.
They're playing at my venue here soon.
There's chants and things.
I don't know, but soon I'd have to look
man,
it up.
I'd love to go see
the
those guys.
HU, the Who.
Yeah, the Who.
Yeah, because I remember we were just talking about this at Jeff and I. And he said the Who was coming, and I was like, "No, they're not coming to play here." And he was like, "No, the HU." And so, yeah, they're coming to the rave, I think, in a couple months.
Mongolian metal,
dude. We had
come check out the rave in Milwaukee. It's a great venue.
we had lunch with them in China. The Who, they opened for Megadeth in China, and that's where I met those guys. Yeah, we had dinner.
I had never heard of them, and I didn't think anybody else had ever heard of them.
Oh, they're fucking awesome. Yeah.
Until just now.
Oh, I went.
I
have great photos of them. I shot them.
Huh?
They're fantastic.
Mongolian metal, chants and things, right? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot that you can do. I mean, look at people like Yngwie.
Mm-hmm. Classically trained. He eats a lot of pizza too. I hear.
Donuts.
Oh, donuts.
Donuts.
Yeah, he does eat a lot. Yngwie loves his donuts, but that's somebody who took classical music and just put a distortion pedal on.
Yeah.
And
Paganini runs, right? Or
yeah,
Donnie
I mean,
runs,
literally from a classical musician perspective, I don't think that's impressive because I've heard violinists that sound a lot cooler than that.
Yeah.
I mean, my mentor for many, many years growing up was Mark Wood of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah.
So for me to hear, Yngwie, I'm like, fucking poser. But,
But at the time, there was nobody out there.
No, at the time, there was nobody like that. But there was people who had started it, and one of those people died. So I think it would have been...
He just grabbed the reins, Randy Rhoads.
Yeah, I think...
Yeah.
Yeah. And, there's nothing wrong with that. I think
had to carry on. Didn't Eddie Van Halen have a little bit of that?
Nah, he wasn't so much classical.
Well, Eddie Van Halen was a cello player as well.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he was... I believe
a
classically.
What's it called? A cellist?
Cellist, yeah.
Cellist.
Yeah. So, but I do know Ed was a cello player as well. But I think he learned quite a few instruments. I'm not 100% sure, but I have seen him playing the cello. I know, and he had a Frankenstrat cello, like the red.
That's crazy.
It was actually super cool. I'm not a huge Eddie Van Halen fan, but that was a pretty badass.
So you're familiar with John-Luc Ponty?
No.
He was a jazz fusion violinist coming out of the late 60s and the 70s and had a great long and very, I think the guy made a good amount of money. But he played with, he did some work with Al Di Meola and Stanley Clarke, and I think in Mahavishnu Orchestra, John McLaughlin's Mahavishnu. Coming out of that fusion era, the 70s, he had electric violin, and he kind of mainstreamed the electric violin.
Yeah.
Not that he was the only one, but he was the guy known for it. He's still around.
Have you ever seen the Flying V violins?
No.
So
that was Mark Wood.
That was Mark Wood. He's the founding composer. He composed all of the Trans-Siberian music.
Wow.
And I remember the first song he ever taught me how to play was Crazy Train on the cello.
That's nuts.
So that kind of looped in with my childhood. As
right.
I grew up on, Patsy Cline, but then my mom would be really, you know, she loved Ozzy. She grew up like, I mean, her first two like really signature records that she just loved were Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. So I grew up on that, and I always had an appreciation for those two albums in particular, but I could never really figure out why until I started playing it. And I was like, man, this guitar player just fucking rips.
Yeah.
And
Randy Rhoads was something, huh?
yeah. And, you know, that even before I started playing guitar, like I always had that such an appreciation for Randy in particular.
Yeah.
That I never really developed with Eddie Van Halen or, you know, Yngwie or anybody. Like it was Randy, because his style, even though he wasn't classically trained, his style was just so similar to how like these classical musicians wrote. So I don't really know how to describe it.
Did you ever see any footage of him when he was in Quiet Riot?
I have. I've seen all of it.
Okay.
I have seen everything.
I used to own a VHS tape in the early '80s that I thought was so cool because it was a bootleg.
Was it
at
it was
the
a
Starwood? Fuzzy though, yeah.
It was at the Starwood, and that's on YouTube
fuzzy.
now.
Oh, is it?
It's on YouTube now. Yeah, that's where I've gotten to see it. But then the Quiet Riot 1 and 2 are I have those on vinyl.
Boy, he was wasted in that band. Thank God it turned out the way it did. I mean, not that you want to see him pass, but I mean, he wasn't able to really stretch out in there.
No, I mean, you can hear just in like a year and a half, or it was less than a year between the two records being recorded.
Blizzard,
you can hear just the insane progress that kid made. I mean, he was my age. Like, I can't even imagine being in that position right now and like just being such a virtuoso at anything, because I'm not, like, you know. But it just like the difference between even Blizzard and Diary. But then if you go back and you hear like the Quiet Riot, and then you listen to Blizzard, and then even the live recordings that they've come out with, they're insane. They are insane.
I was always disappointed with that one record that Ozzy put out. There is a live recording that was put out with him.
Tribute?
Is that what it is? Yeah. And
those are not the best recordings.
No, as a fan, with, you know, just not even understanding the whole thing, but just as a fan, I used to put that record on going, this sounds like shit.
Yeah.
There are better ones. I can't remember what the show.
There's the one that I have, Diary of a Madman Legacy. I have it on my phone, but it was released in England. And isn't that the same as what Bat's Head Soup?
I think we were trying to figure that out.
Yeah, we were trying to figure it out. But it was obviously the same set list and everything, but who knows? That could have been from any show. But Ozzy's vocals are outstanding on this one that they came out with. I don't know when they came out with it or anything. I heard that it was a limited release for just England that they did. And I mean, Randy, I've had people argue with me that it's not Randy playing because it's just so crazy. But if anybody who's familiar with Randy's style and like really, you know, it's not Jakey Lee. It's definitely not Brian Gillis. You know, it's Brian not. Gillis, he is such a specific style, and like nobody who just learned those songs would be doing this off the wall shit that he was doing in these recordings. But I'll have to send it to you because I'd
like to listen to that.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
I think he played Jackson's, didn't he? He played Grover
He
Jackson's.
had a Gibson Les Paul.
Shannon did it. Jackson, Les Paul,
Mike Shannon.
Yeah, Mike Shannon did the Concord. And then it turned into the Jackson Rhodes, which was his black and gold one. Mm-hmm. I know way too much. I could go about this for hours.
No, that's all right.
And then he had his polka dot, his Carl Sandoval polka dot, and the Gibson, the 74 Gibson Les Paul.
Where are those guitars now?
They're in an undisclosed vault that his family only has access to. The Concord was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he was inducted into it, 2021, was it, Fred?
Yeah.
Something like that. And so they had his Concord there for a year, and I didn't go see it. But, yeah, I think he only had those 4 guitars, didn't he?
Surprised they didn't try to sell those.
They haven't changed the strings on them. He is the last person who has ever played them.
Because they may sell if they were available, probably as the highest priced guitar ever.
I guarantee they would be, because I mean I can't even imagine how much those guitars would sell for, because they're such I mean, I know the polka dot got damaged. They put it on display somewhere many, many years ago, and it got sun damaged. I think it was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they had put it in a display case in the window. Sun damaged it, and they vowed to never.
They could have stopped that. They're paying attention. The right glass would have done that.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
Stupid.
But since then, I know that they've said that they would never display another one of his guitars ever again, and then they did the Concord for him being.
Wow.
That's the only time anybody's seen those guitars since he died. Besides, like, pictures, like, of his mother, like, taking him out.
Yeah.
But those guitars haven't been played by anybody else. When Gibson went in and did the Les Paul, they had to go to this undisclosed location, and they had to physically scan this guitar, that Les Paul, and it was, like, orange. They said it was pumpkin orange. So when they came out with the, like, the aged version of it, they did pumpkin orange and the Randy banana. Those were the two color codes on them.
Wow.
Because it had aged just so much, because he was a heavy cigarette smoker. He smoked Winston's, like 3 packs of Winston's a day. And I mean, it just was so yellow. It was an Alpine white guitar back in '78 when he got it, or whenever he got it. But you can see pictures from Quiet Riot where that thing is pure white, and then it's like a couple years later, it's just dingy yellow. It looks like banana.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I would love to go. I would love to be able to see those guitars. I know really close.
The family won't do anything with them, huh?
That all of his gear is in some vault, which
Do you believe that is true, or are they just saying that?
Oh, it's true. It's true.
Okay.
It's not.
They all got ripped off at one point. A lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, because they used to display it at the music school, some of the stuff. But I mean, there's just the music school just got robbed a couple years ago, and Randy's Harmony guitar that he learned on got stolen, and I think they just recovered it not too long ago. But
people suck.
Yeah, and his white Marshall, one of his white Marshalls was in there too, the head.
We all wanted a white Marshall because of him.
I was just showing him this morning. There's one for sale, a full stack, the Randy stack, but it's like, what was it, $8,000, something like that.
Serious money.
Yeah, it's serious
Didn't
money.
you have a white Marshall head at one time?
I got a white baby Marshall.
You do?
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to sell it?
Nope. Got a white baby.
That's his head over there. I mean, it might be mine now. I mean, is that
I
called?
think everything is just
Not
yours
eminent
now.
domain or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's like
It came one day and it never left.
I gotta say, he's got probably
in that cabinet. That
12 more
Basquiat
stacks in
cabinet.
his basement. Between him and Willie's
Oh yeah,
storage
they got their
locker.
own little vaults going on.
Yeah.
I know that.
I'm pretty sure that the Randy vault is in the basement of one of their houses, though, like the family house.
Right. Yeah, just tell everybody where they're at.
I don't know. I've never been to it. I'm just saying that's what I would imagine. I know it's like somewhere
Go get
super
it.
secretive that nobody's supposed to know, but like I do know that really close personal friends of theirs like have seen it, have been in it. And like they allow them to take pictures.
That's life-changing money, though. I'm really surprised the family did not sell that stuff.
I don't blame them.
Life-changing money.
I won't sell
you
my
gotta
stuff, but I won't tell anybody where they're at.
Well, I'll just be honest. Nobody wants your shit, Fred.
He's got some
Actually, I really want that mini white Marshall.
He's
Now
got
that I
some
know,
pretty pricey dime guitars in his possession.
I got him one for his birthday.
Oh, right on.
I got him. It's in a Boogie Street case.
Oh, right on.
But it's not a Boogie Street. It's
That's
the
almost
dime slime.
sacrilegious.
Right.
You know what? I think
Is it a Washburn?
it is a Washburn.
Okay, well,
it is a Washburn.
I'll make an exception. But if you stuck a Dean in there, we're gonna have a serious problem.
No.
Right.
Well, I can say personally, you did an unbelievable job on my acoustic.
Thank you.
Yes.
I haven't set the dime up yet, so I guess I should probably do that before I give it to him.
I have a binding coming off of my Ovation over there I need you to look at before you scoot today, too.
Fucking.
Thank you.
This was my gig.
This is what happens when you're
Go
you're just not the best anymore. You
I didn't
someone
think
younger
any comments
coming
like
up.
that. I just said,
I'm making those comments.
Somebody's more available than.
It's all
Actually,
about
I'm not,
availability.
man.
Yeah, right.
I've got so
I gotta-
much full
I gotta
time.
fly off and do legendary guitars.
Yeah.
What do they say in
And-
football? The best something is availability. The best skill is availability. The best talent, I don't know.
I don't know, but I will say, if you want, I can give you the dime and not set it up, Fred.
It's
It's got a Floyd on it.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yes.
It's funny because I got to learn how to do Floyd's all over.
Yeah.
Now you both are going out on the road because I have an '89 Les Paul custom with gold. I mean, Fred's changed so much on his guitar over the years, but the last incarnation we had Grover keystones on it and chrome. We made chrome hardware. I had Gibson Iommi humbuckers in there, and Fred pulled those out as soon as he got a hold of it. Get that shit out of there, and he put.
They're just custom buckers.
I love them. I love the clean look on the front too, aesthetically. But anyways, I need this. I want to start playing seriously at home and refining my chops.
So you want 8185 EMGs in it?
No, not really. No. I've refined a little bit. I just need it. I don't care about the aesthetics. I just need it really in playing shape. That's the thing.
I can do that. I mean, I'm sure Fred's very talented.
Fred's very talented. He's just never here.
As much shit as I give him, he is very talented, and I have learned a lot of things from him. Before I ever knew him, I had learned the art of shaving necks because I had gotten my hands on a neck that he shaved, and I thought it was just the best thing I've ever felt. You know, like
you did that to some dimes for people.
Yeah,
I thought you were crazy, but you did it.
I did it. I've done it so many times for people because they can't get Fred to do it.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have me do it, and I mean.
That's an art.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I ever did it, it was a Les Paul that he had done when he was still with Zach.
Oh, right on.
And I thought that was just the coolest thing ever. I don't like painted necks, so I started learning how to do it, and eventually I started.
Actually, mine were smoother than this. Oh yeah.
Mine are a lot smoother than that. We have a friendly competition going on right now.
Did y'all have fun?
I had a blast.
That was a quick 2 hours, man.
That was 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It wasn't bad at all.
No, it came off good. And I envy both of you in a way because you're doing, I love my life, don't get me wrong, but you're doing that thing that, every kid grows up like being on tour with a rock band or going out there and seeing that, A little bit of what you do, I think, in everyone who loves music, especially hard rock music. We all had a little bit of that envy, A
lot of people ask so many questions about it.
Sure.
And everyone says that they want to do it until they do it.
Well, if Willie G happens to see this, I think he's probably going to.
Well,
I'll send it to him. I'm gonna send him the clips.
So I'd like to do this again.
First of all,
having Willie sitting over there.
Yeah. So would I.
I would love to have Willie sitting next to me.
I'd love to have him there.
Be amazing.
We'll have to do it.
Be amazing. And he's due for his return. I mean, it's only been 3 years, right? He's due.
I'll pay
4
for
years.
it.
He's
I'll pay
due
from
for
the
his
commission.
You should have offered that he was available.
See, I didn't know.
I did. You should have asked.
Nobody asked.
No.
Willie G.
Well, first of all, I would have come.
A bunch of crap. But I got a bunch of crap to do at home.
3 hours I spent with him back in, I think, 19 or 20. 19, I think it was 19. It was 4 years ago, Will. That was one of the best. And I look back on all the podcasts I've done. It's one of the best times I had.
That is one of my favorite podcasts.
I was laughing my ass.
He's great.
Off.
He's so funny.
So good time. We'll do this again, friends.
Yep.
We'll do it again.
We'll do it.
All right. Be safe out on the road.
Thank you.
Please.
Be safe.
Whatever you
here
do.
In Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I'm just doing my thing. All right, friends. We are out.